All right. So, since my wife is watching the worst show ever made, and actually I think I have this upside down. Give me 1 second. So, since she's watching The Voice, I'm having to do this by myself. And so I went ahead and worked out the problem, but I worked it out in steps. And so I'm just going to go through the problem. We are solving an inequality, and we are solving for the variable x, okay? And so the first thing you want to do when you solve an inequality is the same thing you want to do when you're solving an equation, is you want to distribute if you can. And so if you look closely, you can see these nice little pinkish little lines, just showing that I distributed, and also I wrote this step out here. All right, and so if you look here, we distributed the 2. And so 2 times x gives me 2x, and 2 times 1 gives me 2. Okay, and so in the little pink there, you show where I distributed. Oh, sorry, that was not a good thing. All right, so let's look at this. All right, so I distributed the 2 and got 2x plus 2. And I could have done this first because there were some like terms on the left side. But between every step, you always want to make sure you combine like terms. So combine like terms. All right. And so if you look here, everything underlined in green is a like term. And the reason they're like terms is because they have the same variable. So x has the variable x, of course. Negative 4x has the variable x, and 2x has the variable x. All right, so back it up just a little bit. And so I combine those. X minus 4x is negative 3x, and then negative 3x plus 2x gives me negative x, okay? So bam, there it is in the green. All right, and so once you get to this point, the one thing I like to do, and again, there's not necessarily the set rule that says at this point you need to get the variable on one side. You know, I talk like a robot. But, you know, some people would maybe want to like subtract 2 from both sides, or maybe subtract 8 from both sides. And this is fine. And I'm not discouraging you from doing that. I just know, just for the sake of keeping some sense of order, I like to, when I get to this point, go ahead and get the variable on one side. And so what I've written, so we need to get the variable on one side. Okay, and so to do that, as you can see, I added x to both sides. And what happens is, if you can give me a second, these x's cancel. Boom. And I get 2 is greater than 8 minus 2x, because if you take negative 3x, if you take this negative 3x and add an x, you're going to get negative 2x, okay? And then from here, I'm just going to isolate, okay? And that's what this little thing over here says. Excuse me, isolate the variable. Okay, and so to do that, I subtracted 8 from both sides. Okay, so the 8's cancel out. Let me just go ahead and remove this. The 8's cancel out. And I'm left with negative 2x is less than negative 6. And then the last thing I did to get x by itself was I divided by negative 2. Now, when I divide or multiply by a negative number in an inequality, you always flip the sign, okay? So the sign was facing this way, so now the sign is facing this way, okay? And so I get x is greater than 3, okay? Now, real quick, I'm just going to draw this line, this number line, okay? And I'm going to graph this. So this reads x is greater than 3, okay? So what that tells me is that 3, number one, I don't have an equal to, and so I have to have an open circle. But also, it's x is greater than. So all the numbers greater than 3 are going to be on the right side of 3. Okay, and I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, all right. And so again, just to walk through this whole problem real quick, one more time. I started at the top. I distributed the 2 into here and got 2x plus 2, which is in this pink here. I combined my like terms, all the things with x's, and then ended up getting negative x, which is here in the green. Okay, so I got negative x plus 2 is greater than 8 minus 3x. And then I wanted to get the variable on one side, and so I decided to add x to both sides. You could have decided to add 3x to both sides, but I decided to add x. Okay, so that crossed those two out, and I'm just left with 2 on the left side. And then I did 8 minus 3x, or sorry, I did negative 3x plus x, which gave me negative 2x. And then from here, I wanted to isolate the variable. So I moved 8 to the left side by subtracting 8, which got rid of these, and just left me with negative 2x on the right side. And then 2 minus negative 8 left me with negative 6 on the left side. Okay, and so from here, I was left with this. And so to get that x by itself, I needed to divide both sides by negative 2. And again, when I divide by a negative number, I flip the sign. So you can see how I flip the sign here. And negative 6 divided by negative 2 is 3. Okay, and then that's my little graph. Okay, again, if you have any questions, you can always rewatch the video.